we have seen a lot of data right now. And thank you, Shivi, for the wonderful presentation. I would like to start with a story about Germany, and probably that will give you some more idea about like how Germany actually operates. Recently, I traveled to Germany with one of my colleagues. And it was her first time in Germany. It was about 2 weeks trip, and we went to multiple cities all across Germany. It was kind of an orientation program. So when we landed, I asked her, so how do you like the country? You know, when you enter Germany, you feel that everything is so organized. You know, all that way you land at Frankfurt airport, you see, you're figuring out how to buy a train ticket and all these things when you land there. So it was like, oh, it's okay, but I like India a bit, more, my country a bit more. Great. We went to different cities. We went to Berlin, here and there, and then, oh, so how do you like Germany now? Oh, India is, growing ecosystem. We are growing almost at 10% GDP and all that. While returning, while we were about to board our flight to India, and then we came back again to the Frankfurt airport, and the check-in facility at Frankfurt airport, we were there, and then they had the machine where you do not have to take out your laptops. So the electronic machine that where you always, wherever you go, you take out your bells and all those things, metal stuff. So now they have come up with a machine where you don't have to kind of take out any of those things. I don't know if that is there anywhere in the world, but they have it. So after that, I asked her again, so what do you think about the country? Oh, I'm really impressed about how the country is organized and how they're thinking ahead. So that is how the perspectives change. And when you kind of actually enter the system and then see that, okay, how the country is going ahead and moving ahead. With this, I'm going to bore you with some slides, some more data. But by the end of it, we'll have a fun quiz, some myths that we have about Germany, and then why it's lucrative to kind of do your businesses or maybe go and study there if you're a student. Yes, I'll throw some data at you, but by the end of it, probably you'll have some idea about what we do, how we can help startups and young people who are looking at internationalization. I represent Saxon Science Liaison Office. Saxony is a state in Germany. Okay, perfect. So how Indo-German bilateral relations kind of evolved over the years. So 1951 is the year when we actually established diplomatic ties with Germany. The first Indo-German agreement to set up IIT Madras was done in 1959. So IIT Madras was set up with the help of Germany. If you have been to IIT Madras, there is a Bonn Avenue that is there inside the campus. Fast forward to 2010, when we kind of set up IGSTC, where we started exchange of science and technology and research and development with Germany. 2011, when we started intergovernmental consultations, where both the heads of the state with multiple ministers, they would meet every 2 years to kind of take the relationship forward. 2022, where we launched Industry 4.0, where Berlin and Bangalore would serve as twin IT hubs for cooperation. 2023, the relationship is soaring. We have 42,000 admissions of Indian students in Germany. It's still 5th or 6th ranked globally, but it's growing. And this year, like very recently, if startups who are looking at working on green hydrogen, India and Germany has signed an agreement to take the green hydrogen cooperation forward. So this is a little bit about the history of Indo-German cooperation. Yes, overview of the startup ecosystem. There are about 100,000 startups. Consumer tech is biggest. FinTech, of course, is second biggest, and it's coming up. Health tech is there as well. There are 5,000 and odd startups that get registered in Germany annually. Berlin is ranked 11th globally in terms of startup ecosystem. 10 billion is the venture funding that they receive annually, and 1.6 billion is the total fund invested in climate protection. So they are big on sustainability and climate and all that. So that is something startups who are actually looking at exploring Germany. If you could see in terms of sector-wise, ICT still tops the the overall breakup of sector. Public health, medicine is about 11%, food and consumer goods, and like that, automotive, mobility. Here I have another story. So I was visiting a very small city called Freiburg. It's in eastern Germany. They have some Berg Academy, mining academy. And I was talking to one of the professors there, and they told me that they have a company which operates in Freiburg called Bharat Forge. I don't know if you have heard about a company called Bharat Forge. And they have a plant there, and they employ Germans there. I really felt really good when they said, okay, they employ Germans, they employ Indians, and all the Indians who actually go and study in that university, they get their internships and everything. So connections are kind of growing stronger and bigger over the years. So the VC investment, I have tried to compare India, Germany, and the US. As you can see on the screen, US still is the biggest, they get biggest VC funding, but India and Germany kind of are about 10 to 15 billion dollars range that they get annually overall. So when there was funding boom, India got about 21 billion, Germany got about 42 billion, 24 billion, 11 billion over the past 3 years that we are seeing. Now, what is the geographical distribution of the startups in Germany? So Berlin still is the biggest. NRW is Nordrhein-Westphalia, which is Bonn and Düsseldorf and Cologne, these cities. They are number 2 in that. Then Bavaria, Munich, and these cities, they are number 3. And then, of course, I represent state of Saxony. So Saxony is probably number 4 or number 5. Saxony is very interesting because it's the semiconductor capital of Europe. Some Indo-German companies that are operating, German companies that are operating in India, and Indian companies that are operating in Germany, just to give you some overview that how the industrial partnership stands right now. How many of you knew that Puma is a German company? I did not know, but good. SAP, of course, it's a German company, German software company, and all these things. So it's sometimes there are multiple myths, and then we are going to talk about that in this slide. Yes, now while I was talking about Saxony, Saxony is a state which is also called Silicon Saxony. It's Europe's largest microelectronics and ICT cluster. So startups who are operating in this area, that's very lucrative zone for you. You can see the companies that are kind of present there, 5th largest globally, and they have like about 3,600 companies with more than 81,000 employees in Saxony. So if you are an ICT working with microelectronics, TSMC is building up a plant there where they have a whole ecosystem working. So TSMC has announced a plant there. Then there are universities who are willing to recruit good Indian students who can come and study there, and they can eventually go and work in those plants. We are trying to help that from India. Saxony as a destination for you to study and research. There are multiple universities, Technical University of Dresden, University of Leipzig. I don't know if you read philosophy, but if you do read philosophy, Nietzsche was from University of Leipzig. Leibniz was from University of Leipzig. Goethe was from University of Leipzig. And most notably, the previous Chancellor of Germany, Mrs. Merkel, was from University of Leipzig. So they have a huge ecosystem of people there. Dresden concept. Saxony also has the biggest network of Fraunhofer institutes. They are research institutes. And then I think out of Europe, India is their biggest market. So multiple universities, applied sciences, and everything, if you are actually planning to. And then we were talking about incubation programs and all. So these universities have incubation programs like we have in different IITs and incubation centers in different parts of the country. Yes, work opportunities, as I was talking about. So they need more young people to work there. And as an office of Saxony in India, We are also looking at one of the questions I saw, that how we can partner with startups there. We are also looking at a concept where we could set up companies where there would be two co-founders. One would be from India and one would be from Germany, particularly from Saxony, where you get access to both the markets without any hurdles, regulatory hurdles and all that. We are working on that model. We are still conceptualizing that model with IIT Madras right now. IIT Madras and TU Dresden, they are kind of working on that model. Probably it will take a couple of years to figure out, because there are multiple regulatory concerns regarding that. But a startup in India, registered in India, and a founder registered in Germany, it will have multiple benefits if you are looking at expanding to Germany particularly. Okay. Yes. What we do as an office, we are the primary point of contact for all the stakeholders regarding study and research opportunities in Germany. We are promoting Saxony as a premier hub for education, research, and entrepreneurship and innovation. Strategic partnerships with Indian organizations, multiple research from biomedical science and everything. So that is we are exploring right now with India, and facilitate different programs, exchange programs, skilled migration between India and state of Saxony. We are in touch with skill development corporations in the country, National Skill Development Corporation as well, to train some young people. We were talking about health tech industry previously, so they need people to work in their health tech industry. So we have to we are working on that setting where we train nurses from here, and then we send them there to work and have a good life there. Okay, before we get into the next part, I'll just stop here, because the next part is more fun, where I'll be kind of talking about myths about Germany. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to take any questions. Yes, please.
Sir, in the global transparency indexing, China comes very low. But what about German transparency?
Transparency index?
In business dealings.
In terms of business?
Business.
Yeah. I think I do not know the data exactly what is the ranking and then where do they stand. But based on my personal experience of living and working there and now representing one of the governments, I think they are opening up right now because they need more young people to come into their country and do innovation. They also have to kind of diversify because they are kind of giants in automobile and other related industries. But yes, they are opening up. If it's not very high, but I think based on my experience, it's not very complicated.
Sir, what about the IIT Madras collaboration research? Which research area they are collaborating?
Yes. So we signed 2 MOUs with IIT Madras. Thank you for the question. TU Dresden specifically signed 2 MOUs with IIT Madras. One was to establish a trans campus. TU Technical University of Dresden, they have similar, just one MOU with King's College in London. The MOU basically means that if faculty exchange, student exchange, visa issues, mobility, funding can happen at a more freer level. The entropy will be little less with other institutes that we have. So that would mean the trans campus, number one. Sorry, one more point. Also signed Technical University of Dresden Excite program. That's an accelerator for startups. They have signed an MOU with IIT Madras Research Park, where the free flow and exchange programs with startups that will happen. And then the co-founding program that we are kind of conceptualizing right now. So these things can happen on a regular basis. Yeah.
Sir, what about the migration policies in Germany, which is said to be in a very confused state now. Presently, foreign students are limited there.
I'm sorry, I cannot understand the word.
The migration policy of Germany.
Migration policy. Okay. Yes. So migration policy. they are opening up. Yes, there are challenges, of course, and then I'll talk about some of those myths that we have about Germany right now. But yes, they are opening up, looking at more young people. They are looking at India as a very specific partner. We do intergovernmental consultation every 2 years, which is only with very few countries, where there are very strong collaborations, visa issues and everything are getting sorted. But yes, there were issues in the past. I also faced some issues while getting visas. But yes, they are kind of clearing it quickly.
What about the German researchers coming to collaborate with the Indians?
That is a very good question, because that is not happening very frequently, because as keen we are to send Indians to Germany, Germans are not very keen. So that is something that we need to kind of work at. For example, more student exchange programs. There are only 2 or 3 South Asia institute that is focusing on India. There is University of Heidelberg, there is University of Göttingen, and there is University of Humboldt in Berlin. So they have the South Asian institutes, and I believe that universities work in a more collaborative way when there are exchange programs happen. But yes, it will happen very.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all the questions. Any other question from the audience? Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Mishra. My name is Rafiq.
Hello.
I'm into student accommodation. We recently started in Germany as well. So my question for you is, the problem that we faced in setting up a company in Germany was a little bit tougher when we started in UK or Canada as well, right? So do you think that's going to ease up a little bit in the future with the good migration policies that you have right now? Or is it going to be the same? Because I had to physically travel there, do the notarization part to open the company, right? So do you think that's going to get eased anytime soon for the companies who are looking to expand to Germany?
Yeah. It will definitely kind of open up. They have to open up, because they need more young people to work in their industries. Otherwise, how would we enjoy the Audis and BMWs that we have here? They need young people to kind of work there, work in the innovation, of course. And the experience that they have, the young Germans, they are mainly studying, not studying STEM. So they need people to study STEM. And then when this bottom-up approach happens, when someone enters Germany, studies, works, and all these things kind of eases. But of course, I'm very hopeful that they are looking at India as a very strategic partner and a long-term partner, and they'll open up further for Indians. Yeah.
One more question, please. So back in 2019, Canada was very optimistic with international students. And right now, they are closing down. They're trying to evacuate 4.9 million students or immigrants by next year. And I see a similar pattern here with Germany is opening up with a lot of ambitions, optimistic approach with migrants and international students especially. Do you think, how do you think it's going to last for? Like, do you think it's a boom for some years and it's going to go down? Or you guys have a strategic approach to make sure it's not getting cut down anytime soon?
I represent a state government, so I do not want to comment, the specific migration policy that they have. But my personal, because I have been living in Germany since 2017, and then it will open up, and it has to open up because they need young people in their country to kind of work in their industries, do more innovation and all that. Don't want to compare with what happened with Canada. Of course, there are multiple things in play there. But definitely, like, I'm very, very hopeful. I tell everyone, I meet that it's halfway to Canada. The flight from Delhi to Canada is probably 14 hours, 15 hours, 16 hours. Delhi, Frankfurt on a good day is 7 hours, 15 minutes. So it's halfway to Canada. You can call home 3.5 hours, 4.5 hours at max, the time difference. So it's good, and it will be win-win for both sides, I feel, yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Any other questions before we get into the myths that we have about Germany? Okay, so can we have the presentation back? So all these questions will help me to prepare more slides on myths when I go and present at some other place. But thank you so much. So I'll go further. Yes, the number one myth: Germans are way too serious to enjoy life. That's true, right? But it's not true. You have to little bit, be friends with them, and they do enjoy life. It's fun to be in Germany. It's a beer capital of the world, so you will definitely have fun in Germany. It's true to some extent, but it's not completely true. So there is a joke that my wife and I always do, that why there are so many philosophers from Germany. Probably this is the reason, because they think a lot. And when you think, you become philosopher. And then all those Goethes and Kants and Leibniz and all those people, they are actually Germans. So the number 2, you can't survive in Germany being a vegetarian. This is another myth, because it's a meat-eating country. But yes, they have probably more than 3,000 different types of breads, and you'll definitely enjoy that. Cakes, breads, and all those things. And they enjoy vegan, vegetarisch, that is German, vegetarian food in Germany. So that is also not completely true. Now, myth number 3. And it's always freezing. Not always, probably 6-7 months, but they have good summers, sometimes very pleasant weather. And now it's freezing, of course, it's snowing. But yeah, that's also fun, but it's not always freezing. Myth number 4. Yeah, this is a very interesting myth, that they don't speak English. Yes, definitely they do. And as we discussed during our conversation, that the country is opening up to outsiders, and when they open up to the outsiders, it's easy to kind of talk in an international language, which is English right now. So yes, they do speak English, but of course they prefer to speak German. And then when you are working in this industry, it's good to know the local language. That is how you kind of mingle with the local crowd. Okay, myth number 5. Beer is cheaper than water in Germany. It's true, because water is free. You can drink tap water. And in Germany, tap water that comes to our homes or whenever you live. So that is, and beer you have to buy. So you still have to pay some penny for it. But yes, it's a beer drinking country. Beer they have made also. So yes, beer is of course very cheap, but it's not cheaper than water, definitely. And yes, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much. And I'll close with a very small video, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you have any further questions, I'm here. Please feel free to ask while I'm here. Can we have the video played, please? You have to play from the, yeah. Thank you.
There is a question. Sir, a question regarding why Germany remains, Germany and its nearest metros remain the hub of philosophers, especially the greatest philosopher in sociology, Karl Marx, then Freud, then Einstein, even not only social science, in physics, Einstein, or Heisenberg. So lot of philosophers, scientists from a particular landscape. Why is it because of the landscape behind them, or is it because of the genome, genetics there? What could be the reason?
It's a very interesting question. Thank you. And again, this is my personal viewpoint and like why it is so. Probably because I feel that they have invested heavily in education, and it's probably if you look at post 1600 periods, look at any philosopher you named many of them. Heisenberg was a physicist who studied and probably lived in University of Göttingen. And worked there. Any physicist, mathematician, philosophers, Einstein, Marx. Marx studied in Bonn, born in Trier. I actually went to see Marx's home in Trier, like where he grew up for first 20 years. It's probably the education for the first first 2 decades of the life they get. It's very, very different, and then the culture is very different. You see, if you read Kant, or if you have heard about Kant, he's called little man from Königsberg. Why he's called a little man from Königsberg? Because he has never moved out of one city. He has studied there, he has worked there, he was a professor of philosophy in that university like for his entire life. And probably Kant is one of the most consequential philosopher after the golden era of Aristotle and Plato and that. His books on critique of pure judgment and all that, it's really really good, really intriguing. It's something there that actually works.
Sir, not only that, their collaboration with Kerala, the first printing press, the first Bible translation, because of the Germans.
Yes.
So their collaboration is very marvelously affected the script of, changed the script of even Kerala.
Yeah, understood. When Second World War was happening, and when Churchill was asked that which city he wants to bomb in Germany, they bombed the capital of Saxony called Dresden, because it's one of the most beautiful city in entire Europe, and the Zwinger that they have, you must have seen the domes. They rebuilt it, but they have kept little bit of those there for the younger generation to see how history is and where it can take us if we do not take care of it. So yes, thank you for the question, and thank you very much. I'm here if you have any further questions.